Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this absolutely beautiful stitch. This is a beautiful pattern. It's not so much a stitch, it's a pattern. It's like a zigzag. I'll show you this side. This is what it looks like on this side. I actually think this is the right side. Yep, the right side. The side with this ridge on it is the right side. Look at this. Now I've got a little bit of curl on my corner. And someone says, how do you stop it from curling in the corner? I wait until I've finished the blanket. I'll spray it with some warm water with a tiny little bit of fabric softener in it. And then I'll lay it down on a dry towel. And then I'll put another folded dry towel on the top, making sure that my corners are flat. And if I leave it to dry off, once it's dry, it'll be nice and soft, and your curled corners or edges will be flat. Now I've done this pattern in this solid colour, and I used this Stylecraft special yarn. It's a double knitting yarn. That's a weight 3 if you're in the USA. For the sample, I'm going to use this Kinko Riot. Look at that, a riot of colour. It's beautiful. I want to see what it looks like in a variegated yarn. I've not done it in a variegated yarn. I've always done this in a solid colour. Now I've not finished this one. I've got another 3 balls of this because I'm making a wrap, just like a wide scarf, and it can go around your neck. It's wide enough if you want. You can pull it up over your head and throw some of it around your neck, a bit like a cross between having a hood with a scarf on it as well, or just wrap it around your shoulders. And that's why I'm doing it this width. It tells you on both of these balls to use a 4mm crochet hook. I'm using a 3.5. And the reason I'm using a 3.5 is I want it a little bit more delicate. It's quite a wide open lace pattern with a bigger hook, but I want a nice delicate pattern, so I'm using a half size smaller hook. So I used a 3.5, and I've still got a little bit of a sore throat, so I do apologise if my voice sounds a little bit croaky. But I've just got to keep on videoing because my channel is my job, and I've got rent to pay just the same. I've got rent to pay the same as everyone else. So I've got to get the work up and the work done, and I don't get sick pay, so I've just got to keep working as much as I can through if I'm feeling a little bit down. Anyway, so I'm using this Stylecraft for this. I'm going to pop that off to the side just now. It is so pretty. The stitch count is 16 stitches. 16. And then you'll add an extra 4. Now people say to me, how wide is that? How many stitches do I need to do that? The best thing to do is get a measuring tape. If you've got a measuring tape and you put, I'll tell you how much mine is. This comes out at 21 inches. Now when I did that, because it's 16 stitches wide, this was actually, I think it was around 24, and it went in when I did the zigzag. And just remember that when you do your chain and you think you're doing it to the length that you want, do an extra 4 inches, because it will pull in and you will lose some of your width. Now you can do it any size, any width you want, any width you want. And you don't even need to do the bottom, because you get this nice little fan on the bottom. This is what it looks like on the back. It's quite flat on the back. It's still pretty. I prefer the front because you've got this little ridge. Now it's a 2-row repeat, only a 2-row repeat. Now the one thing I'm going to say to you is, don't be put off by this. This looks very complicated, but it's not. It's not complicated at all. I love the way when you see it like this and it looks as if it's all crisscrossing each other, but it's not complicated. It's only 2 rows. One of the rows is a UK double crochet, and if you're in the USA, that's a single crochet row, and the other one is made up of UK treble crochets. And if you're in the USA, that's a double crochets for you. They're the same stitches. Anyway, let's get on with this. I'm going to show you how to do this beautiful, beautiful stitch. So the stitch count for this is 16 stitches, sets of 16. And then you'll add an extra 4 stitches at the end. Now remember, a zigzag pattern pulls in a little bit, so please, when you do your chain, account for that. Add an extra, maybe 1 set of 16 or 2 sets of 16, because it will pull in. And you also need an even number of those sets of 16. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do our chain. Now remember, and do it a little bit wider than the blanket that you need. So do your yarn over and do your chain quite loose. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. And do as many sets of an even number of those sets of 16. So we're going to go into the 4th stitch in the chain. Count 1, 2, 3 and 4. Into the 4th stitch we're going to put a UK treble crochet into there. Now you're going to keep it on your hook, so when you do your yarn over and pull through 2 loops, keep it on your hook. Then we're going to go into the next stitch, yarn over and into the next stitch, pull it through, yarn over and pull through. So we've got 3 loops on the hook, the one we started with and the 2 stitches. You're going to yarn over and pull through all of those stitches. You're going to chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet into the next stitch. Now on the ends you'll always have a half a fan, just a half a size fan on the end. Chain 1, skip 1 and into the next stitch we're going to put 5 treble crochets. So yarn over, these are double crochets if you're in the USA. That's 1, 2, all into the same stitch, 3, 4 and 5. So this has made the top of your little mountain. So that's already made it go up, and now we're going to go back down. We're going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch and do a treble crochet. We'll do that twice, so that's 1 done, chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Going to chain 1, skip 1. Now over the next 5 stitches we're going to keep them all on the hook. We're going to do this part here, this part. We're going to do that one. So we've done the top and we've worked our way. We're going to do this one. So we've done a chain 1 and you skipped 1, so into the next stitch do a treble crochet and keep it on the hook. So that's 1. Yarn over into the next stitch, pull through, keep it on the hook, that's 2. Yarn over into the next stitch, pull through, keep it on the hook, that's 3 stitches on the hook plus that beginning loop. So we've got 3 stitches done so far. Yarn over into the next one, that's 4. Yarn over and into the next one, and that's 5. So you should have 6 loops altogether. The one that you started with and then your 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Then chain 1. So there's a stitch in there, so don't go in there again. Skip that stitch and do a treble crochet into the next stitch. That's 1 done. Chain 1 and do another one, so skip 1 and treble crochet. That's 2. Chain 1, skip 1, and now we're going to make our mountain. So what we've done so far is we've gone up and done a fan in 1 stitch, we've came down and we've done a cluster fan over 5 stitches on the bottom. So we've gone back up again. So I've got my chain 1, I'm going to skip 1 stitch and do 5 treble crochets into the next stitch. Once you get this foundation row, you'll see what's going on. So that's 1, 2 individual stitches, 3, 4 and 5. So this is your fan done. So you've got a full fan and you've got a gathered upside down fan. You're going to chain 1 and we're going to do our little spaces in between, our little gaps. So chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and now we're going to gather the fan up over the next 5 stitches. So I've done my chain 1, skip 1 and go into the next stitch and keep it on your hook, that's 1. Into the next stitch, keep it on your hook, that's 2. Into the next one, where is my stitch? Got it twisted around there, I think. That's 3. Into the next stitch is 4 and into the next one is 5, and you've kept them all on the hook and you've got 6 loops on your hook, 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one you started with. So yarn over and pull through and chain 1. Now we've already used that stitch, so be careful not to skip that as a skip stitch, that's been used. Skip a stitch, treble crochet, that's 1 treble crochet done. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and into the next stitch build a fan. Put 5 treble crochets into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip one, and then build the fan over the next 5 stitches. So keep them on your hook. We're going to do the upside down fan, so keep that one on. That's 1, into the next stitch, that's 2, into the next stitch, gather them up, that's 3, into the next one, that's 4, yarn over, into the next one, that's 5, yarn over and pull through all of those loops and chain 1. You're going to do that all the way to the end, and what it does, I'll just hold this down, it will come correct once you start using it. And you see what I mean about the chain, how the chain goes in a little bit with the way we've done this. So you start with 3 at the end, you've got your 2 trebles and you've got your full fan. You've got 2 trebles with your spaces and a gathered up fan. So you've gathered it up over 5 stitches. Then you've got your spacers, your full fan, your spacers, and your gathered up upside down fan. Spacers, then your fan, and then these spacer stitches and an upside down fan. We've gathered it upside down. So we're going to do 2 of the treble crochets with the chain in between, and then we'll do the up fan. We'll do that all the way along. So we're nearly at our little last one that's going down the way. And that's keeping a pattern symmetrical. So chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and into the last stitch you're going to put 3 treble crochets, and we're going to put them all together. So yarn over and through, keep it on your stitch, keep it on your hook, yarn over and again, keep it on your hook, that's 2, and 1 more, that's 3. So yarn over and pull through all of those stitches, and that's you completed your first row. That's your first row done, and this is what it looks like. It looks a little bit up and down, higgledy-piggledy, but it's not. So that's why you do an even number of 16, because you use 1/2 of it to go up here and the other half of it to come down, and it keeps your pattern symmetrical. So what you're going to do now is you're going to chain 1 and turn. Now into every stitch you're going to put a double crochet, a UK double crochet, and if you're in the USA that's a single crochet. So into that one where it's gathered you're going to put, I've done a chain 1, so put 1 double crochet, 1 into the chain space, 1 into the stitch next to it, 1 into the chain space, 1 into the stitch, all the way along, 1 into that chain space, and 1 into each of these 5 stitches here. So 1, 2, 1 to the next one round, that's 3, around we go, that's 4, and 1 into that one is 5. 1 into the chain space, you're going to do that all the way along, 1 into the stitch, chain space, 1 into the chain space. Now you're going to put 1 into the top of that cluster, 1 into, make sure it's only the cluster, don't do that stitch because that is part of that cluster, go into the chain space, one into the stitch, chain space, stitch, chain space, so into the chain space before the cluster, and then into the top of the cluster, that little eye that's there, and then you're skipping that stitch because that stitch belongs to that treble crochet. Don't do that. Go straight from the top of the cluster into the chain space, because if you use that side you'll end up with too many stitches. So I've got to the end of my row with my double crochet, one double crochet into each of the stitches. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn my work around. Now I've got my little cluster that's there on the end. Now into the next stitch I'm going to do a treble crochet into that one and keep it on the stitch, and one into the next one and keep it on the stitch. So yarn over into your next stitch and do your treble. We're going to do that little half gathered fan, so keep that one there, yarn over and into the next one and keep it there. So we've got a half a fan. You always have a half a fan at each end. So yarn over and pull through those 3 loops. Chain 1. We're going to skip 1 and do a treble crochet into the next one. Skip 1, treble crochet. We're going to do those 2 spacer stitches in between. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Now you'll see that your little stitches have slightly moved up the way with these ones, but that's what happens when you do this. I'll turn that around the right way. As you can see, to tilt your spacer stitches, you can see that they're slightly different. They've kind of moved a little bit, but it still keeps the pattern correct. It keeps it on that angle. So I've done my second one. So it's chain 1, skip 1, and you should find that you're at the top of your fan. You've got your fan of 5. So we're going to skip a stitch, and into this top one here we're going to build that fan of 5. So I've done my chain 1, skip 1, and into the next stitch build your fan. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got a little note there, 5. So I've done my fan. I'm going to chain 1, skip 1 and do my treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and do my second treble crochet down. Chain 1, skip 1, and then over the next 5 stitches I'm going to do that gathered up fan. Now you will see that that one looks more like a little shell because it's all gathered on the same stitch. So yarn over, skip your stitch, do your next stitch, keep it on the hook, that's 1, yarn over into the next stitch, that's 2, into the top of there is 3, into the next stitch is 4, and into the next stitch is 5, and we've got 6 loops, 5 stitches in 1 loop. Yarn over, pull through them all, chain 1, skip 1, skip that one and treble crochet. chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and you're at the top of that fan. You're going to build your next fan in there. So skip 1 and put 5 into the same stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Chain 1, skip 1 and do your 2 treble crochets down, chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. That gives you your 2 going down the way. Chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to gather up 5 stitches to make that upside down one. So skip that one, that's 1, keep it on the hook, into the next one, 2, keep it on the hook, 3, 4 and 5. Pull through all your loops, chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. Going up the way now, chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and build your fan into the top of this one. So skip that one and you're going to build your fan. So that's 5 stitches into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So what you'll notice is when you build a fan, you're adding your 5 stitches, and when you're going down into the V, into the zigzag, you're decreasing 5 stitches. So you're using 5 stitches up, but you're replacing it on the top of the zigzag, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to repeat. You've got your little ridge in there. You're going to repeat these 2 rows, the double crochet row, and we'll call it the fan row. Chain 1. Now our fan is open up here, so we're going to do the big fan. So I've done my chain 1, skip 1 and build the fan in the next stitch. So you're doing a full fan on top of a full fan, and your gathered up fan on top of the other gathered up fan. That's 1. I need 5. That's 2, 3, 4 and 5. Chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet, chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet, chain 1, skip 1. Now you've got 3 stitches left, and these are the 3 we're going to gather up for the half fan at the end. So skip 1, you're going to pull, that's 1 stitch, into the next one, keep them on the hook, that's 2, and into this last stitch here, and that's 3. Yarn over and pull through them all. You're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to do the double crochet round. That's a single crochet round if you're in the USA. So straight in, so into the first stitch you're going to do a double crochet. 1 into the chain space, and 1 into the next stitch all the way along. 1 into the chain space, 1 into the next stitch, then it's chain space, 1 into each of these fans going around the top to the fan. If you use that and that, you'll end up with extra stitches. So if you end up with extra stitches, it might be because you're using the side of the fan instead of that little eye at the top. And if you don't have enough, it could be because you're forgetting to go in to the chain spaces at either side of this one as well. So into the gathered eye, you can see where it's all been gathered. Into that one, that's the stitch. Don't go into that, that's the side of your fan. Go into the chain space next. And work your way along. So remember, don't work down here because that's not the end. The end is the top eye of this cluster of 3 here. So I'm going to double crochet into the top of that. I'm going to show you once again how to start this. I'll do the beginning of the round again. Just remember, at the end you're only doing 3 stitches. You'll do your chain of 3, you'll gather 2 stitches to make 3 in that little cluster, and when you get to the end you'll gather up 3 of your stitches. You'll do your little half fan over the last 3 stitches. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Turn my work now into the next stitch. That counts with that stitch. So into the next stitch, pick one up. So we need 3 on this, so that chains 1, that's 2. Into the next stitch is 3. Yarn over and come through them all. Chain 1 and start the pattern. Skip 1 and treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and treble crochet. That's your 2 for the space in between. Chain 1, skip 1 and you're at the top of the fan and you're going to build a fan. Now remember what I said about it looking kind of sort of offset, but it's not once you've got this done. So skip 1 and build your fan. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and you're going to do the fan row, and as you can see your fans start to stand on each other. Now I did say at the beginning I'll do my chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet, chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then I'll gather up my 5 for the gathered up fan. And your second row is the one double crochet into each stitch. That's the 2 rows that you'll keep repeating. So I've done a few more rows of that pattern and it's really pretty. I do think it shows up so much more in a solid colour yarn. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's only a 2-row repeat. So you'll start off with your foundation and do your fan row, and then you'll do that UK double crochet row, and that's a single crochet if you're in the USA. Then you'll do the fan row, the double crochet row, the fan row, double crochet row. It's just a 2-row repeat and it is so pretty, but it looks so complicated, but it's not. It's really quite easy and it's beautiful. Remember and do sets of 16 stitches and do I did an even number of stitches because it's 16 stitches from here to here, and I used 8 of one of the sets here and 8 here. That still makes 16, so that I've got a symmetrical pattern, so that it finishes on a down slope on either side and it keeps it symmetrical. Now you can, if you want, just run a little double crochet line along the edge just to straighten it off, but you don't have to, because as you can see your edge does stay nice and straight. So please subscribe to the channel. Just click on the subscribe button. It's completely free to subscribe to the channel. And if you click on that bell icon, YouTube will send you a free notification when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.